I want to do a quick breakdown between the difference in a lean bulk versus a dirty bulk. What is the difference between these two? It's good to have these options up here so at least we can make it clear which bulk will work better for your body and your goals. I'm going to draw two graphs here, and these are going to be two identical versions of you. The x-axis here is going to be time, and it's going to be a time span of 5 years. And this graph is going to be the version of you who does a lean bulk. This graph is going to be the version of you who does a dirty bulk. And so it's the same version of you. You got a twin. I'm going to assume, like at the start of this video, that you're starting out at a lean body fat, that you're skinny, and that you're relatively new to the gym. Doing two different bulks, but with the same goal of building the maximum amount of muscle. So the goal for these bulks is to build the maximum amount of muscle tissue and be as jacked as humanly possible. And we're going to do in 5 years. Now, assuming the bulk and cut cycle is going to be 1 year long, which means we're going to do 5 of them. The bulk is going to be 8 months, let's just say, and the cut's going to be 4. On the y-axis, this is going to be the body weight. This is going to be the amount of weight that you gain. Not just muscle, but weight entirely. All the weight that you gain on the scale. This represents, each of these lines represent the bulk and cut cycle. And so this guy, the lean bulk guy, I'll go with him first. He's going to gain, let's say in his first 8-month lean bulk, he gains 14 pounds. And since he's lean bulking, he doesn't really gain any body fat. So this 14 pounds that he gains is going to be entirely lean size. I'll keep the total down here. So from this starting point, he's gained 14 pounds of pretty much all muscle, which is awesome. The dirty bulk guy is going to gain a substantially more amount of weight. Let's say in his first dirty bulk, he gains 26 pounds. But not all of these 26 pounds is lean size. It's not like this guy who gained 14 pounds of almost entirely muscle. There's going to be some fat, some water, and mostly muscle. Since he's new to lifting, he's going to be the most primed for muscle growth in this first bulk right here. So the red marker is going to represent fat gain, and the blue marker is going to represent muscle gain. So let's just say he gains that amount of fat. Almost all of the weight he gains is muscle. It's a very successful dirty bulk. But he has to do a little bit of a cut because he doesn't want to stay at this higher body fat. So he cuts back down. And let's say after this cut, he loses 8 pounds. So he lost 8 pounds. That means if we subtract 8 from 26, he gained a total of 18 pounds of lean size, which is more than the lean bulk guy. So far, this guy is gaining much more muscle, which is great. Now they're going to do their second bulk and cut. And so the lean bulk guy does his second bulk, and he gains 11 pounds. But once again, this is 11 pounds of entirely lean size. Let's say he gained a little bit of water weight, not much fat, so he decides to cut this water weight out, and he loses 2 pounds, which means he's gained a net 9-pound gain of lean tissue. If we add 9 onto 14, our new total is 23. He's gained 23 pounds of lean tissue. Basically, 23 pounds of muscle. Now our dirty bulk guy does his second bulk, and he gains 22 pounds. And still most of the weight that he gains is muscle, which is good. He's happy with that. But he does notice that a larger proportion of the weight he gains is fat. Because before, he only gained this 8 pounds of fat right here. But now, he's gained a little bit extra, a little bit more than what he had last time. And he doesn't end up gaining a whole lot more fat, but it's definitely more than it was the first time. And so he decides to go on another cut. He cuts down. So let's say he ends his cut right here, and he loses 10 pounds, which means he's gained a net 12 pounds. So if we add 12 pounds to 18 pounds, that is a total of 30 pounds of lean size gain. So far, the dirty bulk guy is absolutely crushing the lean bulk guy. And the dirty bulk guy might look at the lean bulk guy and say, my bulks are so much better than yours. I'm gaining so much more muscle. I'm gaining so much more weight. I'm killing you right now. The lean bulk guys might say, I don't know what the lean bulk guy might say. He might be a little bit upset because he's not gaining as much muscle. But now they're going to do their third bulk. Now they start the third bulk. And this guy gains 20 pounds on his third bulk. But now he's starting to realize that the majority of the weight that he is now gaining is body fat. More than half. And so he does gain more muscle. This is totally true. Except he doesn't consider the fact that a lean bulk might actually be the better option for him here. So he keeps doing the dirty bulks over and over. And so he has to do another cut, but this one's an even harder cut than it was before. So he ends up losing 14 pounds, which means he put on 6 pounds of lean size. If we add that to our total, that is 36 pounds of muscle gained. Still very good, but he's had to lose a lot of weight, and his cuts had to be very intense to get that extra body fat off. So he's gained 6 pounds there. Our lean bulk guy just keeps going. He gains 10 pounds. Let's say he loses another 2 pounds of water. Basically no fat gain whatsoever. And he's right here with 8 pounds of lean size. We add 8 pounds to the total here, and now we're at 31 pounds of muscle gain. And you'll notice that the gap here is starting to get shorter and shorter. This guy's starting to catch up. Now they do bulk number 4. And this is where things start to get pretty dramatic. This guy does another dirty bulk. He gains another 20 pounds, let's just say. He gains another 20 pounds, but now he's barely gaining any more muscle, and the weight that he's gaining is almost entirely fat. But he doesn't know any better. He just keeps dirty bulking. Actually, it's even more fat now. Barely any muscle gain whatsoever. Barely any change from here to here. And so these 20 pounds, he's got to cut now 16 of those pounds off. And so these 20 pounds, he now has to cut 17 pounds of those 20 pounds off, which leaves him with only a 3-pound lean size gain. That brings him up to a total of 39 pounds. And guess what this guy does? He just keeps going. And he gains 9 pounds. He only loses 2 pounds of water. That leaves him with another 8 pounds of lean size gain. If we add that to our total, it looks like somebody caught up. But we still have one more bulk to go. This guy does his 5th and final dirty bulk because he's like, okay, maybe I did some stuff wrong on bulk number 4. The 5th one's going to be amazing. And so he gains, let's say, 18 pounds. But nope, he dirty bulked again and was an absolute fool about it because he doesn't know any better. So now almost all the size he gains once again is fat. In fact, it's going to be a little bit more fat gain and a little bit less muscle gain because he's eating in these high calorie surpluses and has to cut all this extra weight off, and he's going to lose muscle in the cut. Out of this 18 pounds, he has to lose 16 pounds of it. That only gives him a 2-pound lean size gain. And that brings him to a grand total of over 5 years of 41 pounds of muscle gained. Now, 41 pounds of muscle is no joke. That is a massive transformation that 95% of guys will never achieve. But don't forget, he's got a twin. So he does his 5th and final lean bulk, and he gains 8 pounds. But let's say he loses a little bit more water. He loses 3 pounds of water weight. And so he gains 5 pounds of lean size. We add that onto our total. Guess what? Out of a 5-year time span, this guy builds 44 pounds of lean muscle, edging out this guy just by the slightest amount. Now you might look at this and think, first of all, these numbers are hypothetical, right? You're not going to gain a guaranteed 14 pounds, 11, 10, 9, 8. It's not going to look like that for all of you. You might gain 7 pounds and 12 pounds and 14 pounds and 3 pounds and 8 pounds. The weight that you gain in the scale is going to look different, but generally speaking, you're going to gain the most amount of weight at the start, and then it's going to kind of trail off towards the end. Same thing that happened over here. So this guy gained the most amount of weight, the most amount of muscle in proportion to fat, but you can see as he did more and more dirty bulks, he had less of this muscle and more of this fat until it became absolutely apparent that this guy was just bulking to gain a ton of body fat just to cut it all down and be left with this tiny amount of muscle gain that's not even noticeable. And so over a 5-year time span, this guy absolutely crushes this guy in the first 2 bulks, but then after that, it kind of trails off and it doesn't work in his favor. Now you might look at these 2 bulks and think, well, it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, is there really a big difference? The difference doesn't just lie in the fact that he gained 44 pounds and he gained 41. This guy gained more muscle and got more jacked. It's also who had an easier time bulking. The guy who just did a moderate calorie surplus and gained a little bit of weight without gaining any body fat whatsoever, or the guy who ate and force-fed himself tons and tons of extra calories, felt bloated, developed acne, had bad training sessions because his stomach was so distended, gained a bunch of fat, had to lose it all through hard cuts, just to end up with less muscle than this guy. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of bulk are you trying to do? Now, does this mean that the dirty bulk is worse than the lean bulk? No. This is I wouldn't even say it's a theory. I think it's fact. If you're lean, like we said, the criteria for somebody who would be a great dirty bulker is if you're lean, skinny, and new to lifting. If you're those three things, which I assume you were if you're in this experiment with me, I think having a hybrid of both of these is going to be your strongest play. And this is what I did personally. That's why I can attest to it. If you were to do a dirty bulk for your first bulk and you walk away with 18 pounds of lean size, and you did a clean bulk for every bulk after that, so your next 4 bulks were clean bulks. If we were to round up this new total, you would have 18 pounds from your first dirty bulk. Then you would gain 9 pounds. You would gain 8 pounds, 8 pounds, and 5 pounds. And if we were to add all these up together, that is a total of 48 pounds of muscle. So you end up winging out both the lean bulker guy and the dirty bulk guy. I think most skinny guys who are skinny, lean, and new to lifting, if you do a dirty bulk for your first bulk, you will walk away with the maximum amount of muscle that you gain and the least amount of fat. And then if you go for a clean bulk for every bulk after that, then you're just going to be gaining lean size with your head start from the first bulk. I think this is absolutely the way to go about it. If you're watching this and you have not done a bulk yet, I'm making this video so you can execute this first one properly, and I've already made a lean bulking video on the channel for you to follow every bulk after that.